Hey, what's going on? Welcome. Hey, how's it going? How are you doing? Oh my god, I don't have the camera on. But yes, how's it going?
Zavala.
We're just gonna chill. I don't know. Turn this bad boy on.
The universe makes us all victims and perpetrator. That's infinite cruelty.
Explosions.
You, more than any.
Is this the Avengers? Yeah, it's the freaking Space Avengers or something. I don't fucking know. What's up, man? You don't know what Destiny is? No, I was gonna watch this anyway, so I was like, I might as well just stream it. Why not? Who knows? It could be funny. Or it enrages the entire community, one of the two. But yeah, how are you doing today? I feel freaking exhausted. Explosions. If it's too loud, let me know. It's only got like 3 minutes anyway. Wait, is this actually covering it? No, it's good.
The witness has moved beyond our reach.
Explosions. Are you playing any custom? Nah, I probably won't be playing anything. I'm just kind of, like I said, I was already going to be watching it, so I figured why not stream it. There's not really much going on in custom zombies. It feels like everybody's saving them for freaking Noah J's next contest, you know, so it's just kind of slowed. I mean, I got my daily videos scheduled, but still, I'm having to go back to like older maps and stuff. At least I can fit in some World at War and BO1. Explosions. there anything? Is this gonna pop up? I think it is. Explosions. I need to do this. I'm about to check the workshop right now. There ain't nothing. Okay, I did have it on the side.
난 어둠 속에서 태어난 끔찍한 것들을 봤어. 매 순간 그 미래가 다가와.
Oh my gosh, where are we?
Ready? Dad, are you ready?
Yeah, there's nothing still. What is this?
여기서
Ooh.
시작된 건 내 미래가.
Maybe? Maybe something? No.
Alright, game over, credits.
It's another map I can download, but yeah, there's just like the workshop is like dead at the moment. Cloud City.
About time we go to the main.
Oh god. This one looks alright, maybe?
구원이다.
Wait,
Secret door? This map was based off Star Wars. What the hell is this?
함께 건너가자.
I can download it at least. You played Alpha Omega Easter egg on BO4? Nice. I've actually never done that one. I think I stopped playing freaking, not stopped playing. I only played Blood of the Dead, and then I just never got into BO4. I didn't like the weird changes. And maybe it's something I can go back and visit. Like a redo. Is there anything?
no way!
Oh my god, Ross.
Nope. Nope. At least I got 2 maps I can download, but yeah, the freaking workshop is like dead.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Like many of you, I've been playing games as long as I can remember. They're a core part of what makes me who I am. I believe there's this deeply rooted, often unstated mission of games to keep adventure alive. In 2014, Bungie set out to start a new adventure. Heroes awakened on a desolate planet. A silent god set in our sky. And it wouldn't be long before an ancient enemy, shrouded in darkness, showed up at humanity's door to destroy us. Over the years, our heroes would shape a story far greater than anything we could have imagined. Players would explore deep into the depths of Venus, hunting a machine god that controlled time itself. They'd invent ways to combine their mythic weaponry and their paracausal abilities to stand alone against monsters that took others an entire elite squad. They'd race alongside their friends far into the early morning into halls of an ancient city where only a select few emerged victorious at dawn, clutching the heart of a dragon. But most importantly, they'd bring their friends and their family into this world and together meet new faces on this adventure who would become lifelong companions. Now, together, we approach the final shape. We're about to embark on the last expedition of Destiny's first saga. So let's be clear about the stakes. In the final shape, you will go inside the Traveler. The journey will be difficult. And what awaits you on the other side of this trek is nothing less than the deadliest entity we have ever faced. There will be no open betas. There aren't going to be any guides on the internet telling you how to handle what's to come. Whether you've been with us from the beginning, joined us somewhere along the road, or looking at Destiny for the first time, anybody who shows up on launch day is going to be greeted with this same uncharted world, a vacuum-sealed experience begging for you to be the first person to peel it open. So today is your invitation to go forth and adventure.
Explosions. Yeah, I played this game in like 2014. So I kind of want to be here for the end, I guess. Jesus.
After all these years, We never talked about it. Why I brought you back. Why you were chosen. The truth is, I didn't know then. It was just a feeling.
Of course it's good.
But I know now. After all we've seen, all we've lost, this fight might be our last. So I'm asking you one last time
Strand?
to rise.
What the hell is that? Looking like a mega axe?
This is a momentous time in Destiny history. We've been building to this moment for the last 10 years.
The final shape is the conclusion to that journey. This is a moment in gaming that as a developer you just don't get very often.
Guardians and allies are fighting the biggest threat that the universe has ever seen in this big culmination of the Light and Darkness saga.
When we were thinking of what the final shape could be, it had to be a lot of different things. It needs to pay off this epic confrontation with the Witness that we've been setting up for years. It has to bring you closer to your allies in the Vanguard. It has to be this place that makes you feel nostalgic for the entire journey you've been on.
When we were resurrected by ghosts at the very beginning of this story, we didn't know why, but it was for this. The Traveler is asking us for help. And it's our responsibility to protect every living thing in the universe from what the Witness intends to do.
When we first start the final shape, we are finally able to go through the portal that the Witness opened in the Traveler at the end of Lightfall.
Inside is the pale heart of the Traveler. That is the stage for our showdown with the Witness.
The Witness has the darkness. It has always had a connection to it. The pale heart of the Traveler is what it's trying to use to gain connection to the light. So with both, it can enact its final shape.
The Witness looks around and sees a lack of purpose, no meaning. It wants to fix all that. So it's trying to put the universe into this frozen perfection where everything's just exactly how it thinks it's supposed to be. That is the final shape.
If we're going to defeat the Witness, it's going to take everyone. Failure is not an option.
We're gonna need the Vanguard, all of our allies, and all the Guardians to rally together and be brave in the face of Oblivion.
In the final shape, we're going to answer questions at the grandest scale. But what I find really interesting is that it's also a very personal journey where we deepen our relationships with these characters that we've known for so long. Zavala, Ikora, our ghost, get to reconnect with Cade 6. So, while there's this great conflict and everything going on around us and stakes of just unimaginable heights, it's still at the end a story told around campfires by a bunch of companions who have been fighting together for hundreds of years.
In the final shape, we're going through the portal that the Witness has opened up to
the
confront
OG
it
tower.
and stop the final shape. Inside the Traveler is just infinite.
It's the OG
vast,
tower.
Unknowable. And we're landing on the Pale Heart, which is a fraction of really what is inside the Traveler.
The Pale Heart is weird. It's a little strange, it makes you feel a bit uncomfortable, and it is also just so cool and artistic in the best way.
The Witness entered well ahead of any Guardians, and so it's had time to kind of shape what's there. When our Guardian enters, the rest of the Pale Heart starts getting shaped also around what we've experienced.
This is
Oh my
the
God, Scourge of the
Traveler
Past.
recreating the world
Oh, maybe
in
it will
front of
come
you as
back.
it saw on your journey.
One of the most memorable blockades from Destiny's past is the D1 Tower. It's really a labor of love from the Destiny team. The final shape means so much to everyone who's building it, and I think players are really going to be able to see that.
Jeez.
The Pale Heart is our very first linear destination that we've ever done. I would love it if players felt that they began
What up,
their journey in a
Kratos?
place of safety and feel it escalate in danger, in surrealness, because there is this beautiful evolution of the space.
They see things that are more and more wrong as they begin to go towards the Witness's monolith. It's kind of this omnipresent, foreboding thing off in the distance.
The weirdest things
Damn, it
happen
looks so
as you get
good.
closer to the monolith
Appreciate
in
you,
the
Chris.
form
Hope
of
you're doing well,
reshaping.
man.
Kind of like deconstructing things and putting them back together just wrong.
The sense of scale you get out there, like as you're exploring these spaces and you're jumping on these reshaped cuboids of Earth, you feel tiny as a Guardian. You feel alone. You feel like you are not the force to be reckoned with that you have been. You're not the God Slayer right now. You're just this little person jumping from these massive pieces to massive pieces.
One of the things that we really tried to also capture is that the
Suppose you got
Witness
one on the
keeps
background
throwing
of
everything
people
it has
saying
at you.
that.
And so you're going to fight
Probably.
these new enemies,
Something like that.
the
It does
subjugators.
look dope, though.
Subjugators are the new unit you're going to be facing in the final shape.
No fucking way. They added a new enemy. Oh,
They
okay,
have
never
an
mind. It's
enhanced
just
power
one
set.
model. Just
They're
one.
performing
Oh,
stasis
two.
powers and strand powers to face the Guardian, while in support of all the other enemies you're fighting too.
They bring something entirely new to the battlefield, which is kind of this element of control.
They're back there pinging away with stasis abilities, throwing crystals at you, freezing you in place, tangling you up.
We're focusing you on the campaign and only the campaign. It's the most important thing in the universe at that moment. You have to stop the final shape from happening.
And for that, we do need the help with our allies. And so we're going to make sure that the core Vanguard team gets back together. Zavala and Ikora and Kate.
The campaign is just the start of the Pale Heart. After you've reached the monolith and finished
Looks
the
crazy.
campaign, we open up the entire destination, and so the entire Pale Heart is going to react to you and what you are doing.
The campaign in the final shape doesn't really end with the final mission. The raids are where you defeat like the big bosses. So it's only natural that when you are going to confront the Witness, you're going
Feels
to
like
do
we're
that in
watching
the
a
raid.
movie. Yeah, pretty much.
But that might not
That's
be enough.
Destiny.
This is a moment where we
I
need
would
to rally
highly
our
recommend
Guardians
checking out some
to
of the
be able
streams
to
sometimes, because I've done like a few
overcome
lately.
The final shape.
So it's like
and
the
Witness.
start of... Dude, that's crazy. So it's a Revelation style map. They're taking all the stuff from Destiny 1 and slapping it together as a destination.
In
and
the
they're-
final shape,
it's fucking
we are
Revelations.
inside the Traveler.
It's Revelations Destiny
Very
style.
close to this energy. This allows us to have new supers, Arc, Solar, Void.
We want to create something that turns you into an offensive powerhouse, but also can benefit your allies in a support capacity. There is this thread of team play and like working with your friends to overcome the odds. The Warlock Super is its ultimate expression of solar energy coursing through your Guardian. This Solar Warlock Super is a callback to Radiance from D1.
Other than Golden Gun, this is the only other first-person super in Destiny right now. Your melee's like all these projectiles going off, doubling the amount of projectiles. Your grenade almost being sentient as it
So
surges
Sunsinger's
around, and then
back?
it hits a character and bounces off and goes to another one.
That's
And
gonna be OP if you
you're
could, because you could
overflowing
self-revive.
with this energy that you are also giving it to your allies, allowing them to have their solar weapons supercharged.
No, that's all
applying
good.
Scorch when they're
I haven't
shooting.
streamed in a
The new
bit. I
Solar
just got a lot
Warlock
going
aspect.
on.
When I cast my Rift,
I'm
it is
trying to get
going
back to it though.
create this
We'll have
little
some more
solar
this week.
soul that when
Zombies
it
and
sees
some
an
other
enemy,
stuff.
it launches part of itself out and hits the enemy and explodes and scorches them.
It just feels very alive. Twilight Arsenal. It's a layered super.
This is the only ranged one-off offensive super for Titans in the game. The Titan jumps up into the air, summons this giant void axe, throws it, summons another one, throws it, summons another one, looks at a different group of enemies, throws it. And when these axes fly through the air, they stick into the ground or an enemy, do their void gravity thing where they suck a bunch of energy and enemies in and then
Of course, they're gonna save the
explode.
hunter for last.
But that doesn't destroy the axe. The axe sticks around, and you and your allies can go and pick up that axe and start wailing on enemies with it.
This super is insane to me.
The Void Titan aspect, I press and hold my grenade button to consume my grenade and turn it into the shield. The more damage it takes, the more it charges up, and then I can release that, and it creates this blast that deals massive damage.
So they're not going to be darkness subclasses.
The Hunter Arc Super.
Arc is all about finding the shortest distance between 2
God.
points. The hunter kind of rears
Blade
back,
Dancer.
takes this knife and throws it across the world, and then is able to blink to
It's
its
Blade
position,
Dancer.
do the slash that just decimates anyone nearby.
It's
One of
fucking
the
Blade
great
Dancer.
things about that is not just you do it once, but you're able to do it 3 times, along with devastating attacks each time you do it.
The hunter has an aspect. We take our staff, we twirl it in the air, which propels us upward. It creates this burst, which amplifies you and any allies near you.
It almost makes it feel like you're playing a fighting game, right? Like these combos that you're chaining together to do these different moves. It like takes that sandbox to the next level.
The more aspects we have, the more capable we are to do that.
It feels like you're like riding the lightning, you know? Like that instantaneous, like...
That was good, but I think it's more like... You know?
I like it, I like it.
Weapons team has been working on all sorts of goodness. We've got exotics, we've got legendaries, we've got perks. We're always cooking up stuff. We're always playing with stuff that we think is like really interesting or taking inspiration. We have Tessellation, which is this exotic pyramid fusion rifle. It has the really intriguing property of adapting your Guardian's current damage type.
This will be the first time that you can run a weapon that can adapt to be strand or stasis in the energy slot. So you'll be able to run an entirely strand or entirely stasis loadout. Tessellation has the additional property that you can special reload to reshape your grenade and suck it into the weapon, and then fire out a super destructive single projectile.
The fuck?
It's a really special weapon.
What's the one specific exotic that I can make that's like really zany that you would like right now?
What if Golden Gun was a sniper rifle?
What if you could harness the might of the Traveler? You know, we had a moment where we saw that Traveler beam cutscene. I know people on Weapons went, I kind of want that. You're like, that is incredibly dope.
So we've got this opportunity to bring back these iconic Destiny 1 weapons, but
Dragon's
really
Breath.
turn it into something that feels unique in Destiny 2.
We have to bring Kvotstov into the fold.
The Red Death exotic pulse rifle.
And Dragon's Breath.
Supercell.
Burn the world, burn it all.
Give me Supercell.
In the final shape, we have new weapon subfamilies coming, broadening what existing weapons can be.
Really like bordering on exotic functionality. So for example, we've got a rocket pistol sidearm subfamily. We always liked the special ammo sidearms. This fires tiny, slow-moving rockets. They hit very hard, do a bit of AoE damage. They have a mixture of regular weapon and rocket launcher stats. We're also doing a new support weapon subfamily.
The support frame auto rifle is a type of legendary auto rifle. It'll let you switch seamlessly from firing at enemies to healing your allies. I'm really excited to bring it to dungeons and keep my team alive, honestly.
The weapons team is always coming up with new ideas. We've got a ton of new cool stuff coming over the next few years, and some new and really wild ideas, which I'm pretty excited about.
Come on, take a load off. We've got a lot to cover. This place is only big enough for one dashing hero type, and that's me, so... I'm back! Hey, you two, give me a sec. I was magnificent. This is great. Anyone want a hug? Get your rock off my map. Worst case scenario, you die. But who knows? Maybe you won't. Well, better get back to it.
In this moment where we're driving to the end of the Light and Darkness saga, it's great to see Cade like return to this world at this moment with all
It's
this
like your
change
only
that's about
iconic
to
character.
culminate with this confrontation with the long-standing enemy, the Witness.
Cade is the quintessential hunter. His presence casts such a long shadow over the story of Destiny, whether it was when he was alive or when he was dead.
What Cade goes through in this journey, how he serves as a catalyst for the other characters, the events that are uncovered to have brought him back. This is how the story had to end. There was no end to the Light and Darkness saga that didn't have Cade here alongside his friends to finish the job.
Once we started digging into the nature of the Pale Heart, I think that crystallized Cade's role as a guide. Cade is Virgil, and he's our guide through this other place. Cade is the one who is the most appropriate person to be the guide, because that's his job. That's always been his job. It just feels so natural for Nathan to be back in the booth. It felt amazing to just see him slip back into the role, like, without missing a beat.
Right, instantly.
In the flesh, or metal, as it were.
Cade's the glue that's always held Zavala and Ikora together. Having him back puts them in a position of questioning where they've been and what they've done without him.
You think about the journey that Zavala's been on and how he's been taken down this dark path, and you think about the weight that's been on Ikora, having to hold the Vanguard together, having Cade's voice of levity and brightness that he brings to that group. I think it's going to be great for them.
Well, at least we have each other.
We want people to take away that sense of reunion and that idea of like the gang being back together for this moment.
I'm here now. Wherever the hell here is.
Guardian, the Witness poses a dire threat. And the Witch Queen holds the answers we seek. But only if we contend with her sister, Zivu Araf. It rests with me.
Will you come back from this?
Do not be afraid.
Oh shit.
Bring me your tithes.
What the fuck?
You now wield hive magic and have entwined it with your light. Assault the Spire, Guardian, and open the way to our tithes.
I always love the hive stuff. It looks the coolest.
Let them know fear.
Is Era's dead?
Death of whispers, and they do whisper. Fight in my name, Guardian. Every opponent you defeat strengthens me.
No. Okay, I get it.
My appetite rises for your brutal tributes. alive.
You have sounded the horn of battle! You are deserving of the greatest death I can bestow.
The Season of the Witch is our opportunity as players. We've been annihilating and breaking Hive spells, and now we finally get to cast them.
At the end of Season of the Deep, we learn that Savathun has the key to getting into the portal that we need to go into. That means we have to go find Imaru, her ghost. Imaru's like, not so fast. We've got a bigger problem first, and that bigger problem's name is Xivu Arath. If we fight her, she only gets stronger. Eris has an idea. It's a really
good
It's
idea.
a wild ass idea, yeah. She determines like, well, the best way to fight fire is with fire. We are channeling all of that energy that we're creating by going through, by eliminating enemies, and we're tithing to our friend Eris.
Bring me your tithes.
What does that mean for the characters and the player to kind of like be like Savathun? And that's where we went down the path of having Hive Eris. We want to extend that magical fantasy into the player then. That ability to have overwhelming magical power, that risk and reward into all of our activities and systems experiences. And so that's what led us to come up with things like Deck of Whispers. It's this magical deck of cards that creates amazing synergies with your Buildcraft meta and with buffs and the activities.
They can then choose these cards at will, whichever ones they want, and then that really leans into the build crafting.
You actually are getting
There's way
cards
too
that
many.
you can then use to place on the battlefield and change the way you play.
I'm such a sucker for deck building. Like being able to like bring that element into Destiny gameplay has just been like, oh, chef's kiss.
Yeah, oh, it's
really
super
fun.
So we've got two brand new seasonal activities coming with Season of the Witch. We've got Altars of Summoning and Savathun's Spire.
Savathun's Spire is our new 3-player offensive. You're doing a lot more with the Lucent Hive magic, but it's got a high amount of combatant density. It's got additional random encounters that you can come across.
The Witch's Spire itself, Savathun's Spire, was like her reliquary for all these different magical experiments as she was learning the light. You're there in order to learn as much as you can in order to become a master spellcaster, right? To become like Savathun. The Altar of Summonings activity is really exciting because you can spend like 20 minutes in it or you can spend 2 hours in it.
It's a 3-player experience that you can hop in and hop out of. As you're going through this activity, you're filling the tithing bucket. As that tithing bucket is filled up, you'll get progressively more rewards. And then finally at the end, it'll cash out and you'll get a whole mess of rewards.
We really wanted to make sure that there was a home for any exotic mission content coming in seasons after the year has passed. And so we developed what we're calling the Exotic Mission Rotator.
Right away, we're getting Presage, Vox Obscura, and Operation Seraph Shield.
This is some of the most fun content the team has making. It's some of the content the fans and players of Destiny love the most. The most exciting thing, outside of just the missions themselves, is
Yeah,
that
maybe
every
one
time
day
we
it
put a
will.
mission inside of that rotator, the exotic that comes alongside of it will become
I don't see why they
craftable.
couldn't.
With Season of the Witch, we have a brand new Vex lo-fi PvP map coming. It's really exciting. It's got a bunch of really tight gameplay experiences.
you
We
know,
wanted to
the
make
newer
sure that
ones.
We focus the combat a little bit more. With the new Vex network map, we really wanted to make sure we hit is like, hey, you're shoulder to shoulder more often. There's not as much deep sight lines that you're interacting with. And a lot of the flow of the map is actually built around this like kind of central pillar of the Vex network that you're orienting around.
And there's also some modes coming too, right?
We've got a new PvP game mode coming that's all about relics. It's about multiple relics, so it's not just one like the Scorch game mode from the past. So we've got the shield coming from Vault of Glass, we've got the spear back from Season of the Risen.
And we got the scythe from Season of the Haunted.
Yeah, so you're gonna be reaping Guardians with that thing. It's a lot more tactical gameplay. It's all about running around the map, claiming these relic dispensers, and then grabbing them in order to push for victory.
I will take what I need. The words in my throat are the weapon in my fist.
We were feeling pretty Hivey this season, obviously. There's something in the air. And so when thinking about like, what's a good raid reprisal that would really suit this very Hivey season?
Crota.
There's only one answer.
Please tell me it's Crota's End. Crota's End!
I have
team what the Hive call
My favorites.
God.
Woo! It's the good armor. It's the good armor. Oh my god, they did the good armor.
Only a true
Necrochasm.
can stop his wrath.
Oh, I love that armor so much. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Heading
Crota's
into the
in.
final shape, we really want to rally all Guardians at the end of the Light and Darkness saga. We want to reduce those power barriers, as well as catch people up on key story beats and make sure that they have a really great and easy time connecting with other players. In the final shape, we're trying to find ways to make power more simple and easy to understand, and also lowering the barrier to entry.
It's going to make it easier for players who have not been able to jump into game easily because they were held back by the challenges in grinding for the power levels that are required by these different activities.
they always give
One of the
everybody
major
a free
changes
pass.
that's going to be
Okay.
happening starting with the final shape is there are going to be a certain number of activities that are going to be power fixed. So it doesn't matter kind of what power level you are going into it, you're always going to be able to approach it. There's still going to be tiers of difficulty that you can do, things that are just meant to be experienced a certain way.
Things like Nightfall strikes that will still have power enabled, and that's where we're really going to focus the whole power climb.
The raids, the contest modes that everybody loves to engage with, that experience is fundamentally going to be staying the same.
I'm excited for this because I think there will be a lot more clarity for players in terms of understanding the relative difficulty of things, where they sit now in the spectrum.
One way that we're trying to do that is making it easier for new players to engage with you. So we're introducing something that we're calling Fire Team Power.
You can actually bring your friends along to play any dungeons and raids in the game without having to wait them to be at a certain power level. The person with the highest power in your fire team is actually going to bring all the others close to their power level, which means that there's no barriers really for any other Guardian to join you in this high-level content.
When it's combined with Fireteam Finder, it also allows you to find strangers, people you've never played with before, and have that same experience. That's all regardless of the power level of you and the rest of the people in your fire team.
Fireteam Finder is the new feature that's coming in Season 23, aimed at helping connect and find other people to complete the best and most aspirational content in Destiny. We have a tag system that allows players to be able to say, well, this is my playstyle. I'm really chill. I'm anti-sweat. I'm just really here to have a good time. Exactly.
Tags really allows players to show a little bit more personality, show a little bit more about what they're about. I think what's really great about it is with this launch, we're also looking at including inclusion tags.
As an example, one of the inclusion tags that we have are for colorblind players. Hopefully the inclusion tags will bring players closer to finding their community and even closer to the people that they're playing with. So once a listing goes live, players will be put into a listing lobby where players can gather, they can communicate with each other. So we wanted to make it as convenient and as easy as possible for players to not just sit and stare at a screen for a long time while their listing actually fills up.
As a gamer who's typically more solo, I'm especially excited about this because it really is about helping reduce that anxiety and burden that comes with trying to make a new connection. The feature coming out today that I'm incredibly excited about is Timeline Reflections. Essentially what we have done is we've went back to previous expansions and pulled out missions that we felt really represent key narrative beats within our story. We are going to have a mission for Forsaken, mission for Beyond Light, as well as a mission for
About
Witch
fucking
Queen.
time.
Thanks for the memories, Guardian.
The neat thing about these missions is they're not going to be like one-to-one for how you would experience them in the campaign. You're also going to get additional pieces of narrative fed to you to like identify like, hey, this is why it's important that this happened, and here are the people you met along the way.
A really big one that's really timely for Final Shape is Cade's last stand from Forsaken.
such a good mission.
This is a moment that a lot of players, new and old, are going to come back to Destiny. I think this is just the right time to introduce features that are going to allow those players to jump right in and find people to play with and enjoy this content regardless of their power level.
I almost want to play Crota's End. Solo the whole fucking raid on D1.
We're reaching the end of this 10-year journey. What comes next?
The episodes. And the new way we're going to tell stories moving forward.
What's really important about episodes is that it's a really big shakeup to what we've been doing. Instead of providing 4 seasons a year, you are going to get 3 larger episodes. And so the first 3 episodes in this coming year are called Echoes, Revenant, and Heresy. It's coming right after the final shape. And the theme for the year is going to be all about the consequences and aftermath of the final shape. I think what's really the cornerstone of the episode model that we're building is the 3-act structure. The acts act as these anchors for us to introduce new weapons, new artifact mods, new activities. There's going to be new missions coming around the core. There'll be new story moments in every single one of these acts. We're actually providing more cinematic styled experiences throughout the final shape year and the episodes with it than any of the seasons we've ever developed before.
These new stories are actually playable as standalone. Like each episode is something you can experience whether you've been playing Destiny for 10 years or this is your first one.
You're going to be able to basically enjoy them in any order you want to.
I think the opportunity with this big epic moment is that we get to innovate the game. We get to move the game forward.
It's all about change frequently. It's all about deeper story moments. It's all about more weapons, more loot, more often. And it really provides the team with a platform to go much deeper into the themes and fantasies and story of any individual episode as compared to the seasons you know of today.
I'm so excited to see what the narrative team can do with this kind of new platform of storytelling. Episodes provides this awesome foundation for the future of Destiny.
We're moving into the next stage of Destiny 2. I think some people look at the final shape and they think Destiny 2 is coming to the end. And in many ways, it's the opposite. We're leaning in. We're putting the pedal to the metal. Episodes provide us a new, innovative way for players to engage with Destiny 2 throughout the year.
How about just paying one time and then you're good for the year?
What makes
Instead of sticking your hand out every 2 seconds?
A guardian. Devotion, bravery, sacrifice. We know that we were chosen for a reason. By something greater than ourselves.
Guardian. Guardian? Eyes up, Guardian.
Shaped by the fires of each new battle, we are forged and sharpened into what we must become for the fight ahead. We are the final line that halts the second collapse.
All of us. Every Titan. Every Warlock. Every Hunter.
What is it the Guardians say? Devotion inspires bravery.
Bravery inspires sacrifice.
Sacrifice leads to death.
The line between light and dark is so very thin.
Let's cross it together.
There are things out in the dark that only the dark can overcome. Trust me.
You've heard the stories of the Traveler's sacrifice, of darkness descending upon humanity.
Our purpose is its end. This time, there is no escape.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's going to be an exciting year for Guardians. We get to make good on a promise that we made way back in 2014. There was classic rock blasting, a fire team racing across our solar system, and at the end, a simple message: become legend. Today, you got a glimpse at how we'll be cementing your legend in this upcoming year. We're going to be heading inside the Traveler experiencing a destination unlike anything we've ever built before. We'll face the biggest bad we've ever made, and we'll do this all alongside a streamlined progression system, allowing us to easily play with friends in any content in the game. And as the dust settles in the final shape, we're going to continue our legends in Echoes. It's Destiny's first episode in a new phase of storytelling for Guardians with brand new conflicts born from the resolution of the Light and Darkness saga. These first episodes are just the beginning. But if you're chomping at the bit to see how the Light and Darkness saga is going to kick off the future of Destiny 2, we've got a ton of great content for you to jump into today. Going live after this, we've got Season of the Witch, with a new story, new weapons, new armor, new activities, and new PvP content, all alongside a series of story catch-up missions, allowing any of your friends to jump into the game and get up to speed on what's happening in this world.
PlayStation shoes?
Then, next week, a brutal reprisal of Crota's End is going to join the ranks of our I can't wait to see you all in the Throne World as we learn more about the final shape.
I can't wait there for
and how
that,
we
dude.
can stop it.
Crota's End.
After all these years,
I can't believe they brought like a version of Blade Dancer back.
this fight might be our last. So I'm asking you to rise one last time.
Collector's edition. Why is there a reveal for that? So fucking dumb.
When we create a collector's edition, we try and recreate items from the universe for players to enjoy outside of the game. So this year we're doing a Destiny 1 tower. We really try to work hard at thinking about 10 years of Destiny and how best to
I ain't buying
encapsulate
that, but
that experience.
Even as the game dev who've worked on it since day one, like I think having it be the tower is super exciting for us because it's going to kind of catalog your journey of a player from when you first started playing Destiny all the way to now. The tower, it's kind of like the beacon in which you're a place you can call home.
You get the tower, and then there are actual figures of the Vanguard mentors that accompany that architectural model.
Kate's the only
There's
one
a
with
lot of like hidden messages and hidden things.
There's gonna be some fun surprises. We're always trying to push the envelope. And so we've been playing a lot with magnetic locks and sound effects and lights, just sort of make this experience as a whole really special. It's sort of the perfect symbol of Destiny. I'm so excited for it.
Me too.
I feel like that would be a little bit kind of short. Post show. Oh my god. I wonder if Blade Dancer comes back today? That'd be crazy. I don't got time to play it after this, but maybe later. Is there actually going to be something though? It's like subliminal messaging. Okay, I guess this is not starting. Still offline anyway. Why even do this camera angle? I should have just left it before. Still going, really? One of the maps must have been freaking huge.
Hello Guardians, welcome to the post-show stream. My name is Taylor Liz. I am a Destiny 2 player and content creator. I'm excited to be here live at Bungie. We're gonna have two segments for you today. A little later in the show, I'll be playing through the brand new Season of the Witch content with my good friend, Pika Peach. Right now, let's sit down with Bungie developers to talk more about what we just saw and what's next for the future of Destiny 2. Pika, over to you.
Thank you so much, Taylor. My name is Pika, and I'm also a content creator and Destiny 2 fan. You can often find Taylor and I playing together in some sort of challenge in-game. I'm beyond honored to be sitting down with everyone here today, so let's do some more introductions.
Thank you, Pika. It's great to have you here. Hi, my name is Cosmo. I'm the lead community role here at Bungie, and my role is supporting our amazing community team and all the great work they do, helping prepare weekly check-ins and sending info out to our players. I'm going to be teaming up with Pika today, and we're going to be asking some of these guys some questions and go over some of the things that we didn't get to cover in the showcase. So, yeah, Dan?
Yeah, thanks. I'm Dan McAuliffe. I'm the general manager for Destiny 2. And that mostly means that I get to support all the amazing talent that makes this game. So thanks for sitting down with us today.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
I'm Joe. I'm the game director on Destiny 2. And actually, while Taylor and Liz were doing the intro, I was hiding behind a pillar for the last 10 seconds. So y'all can like roll back the VOD and see if I did a good job or not.
Awesome. So let's get into some questions. As a player, what are you guys most hyped about regarding the final shape and beyond? Anything specific you can call out?
For me, I'm really excited about the story. I mean, this is going to be like the epic conclusion to the Light and Darkness saga. Like, players are finally going to get to go into the Traveler, confront the Witness. Like, the stakes have never been higher. I'm just really excited to get to watch everybody play it out as soon as they can. Can we make it live right now?
I don't think so.
I tried. Anyway, what about you, Dan?
Oh, for me, I mean, it's a lot about the supers, right? Like, I just think we have this ability with these supers coming out to shift the meta in a really exciting way. And like, I just haven't played through them and gotten some hands on them. Sorry, like no spoilers, but like, I think they're going to play in all parts of the game. So I think you're going to see these in the campaign, obviously, but you're going to see these in PvP, and they really feel like that sort of pinnacle achievement of our Guardian's journey in a lot of ways. So just really excited to see the final product.
Yeah, for me, I guess it's maybe surprising. It's the weapons. And I know, like...
Shock.
Yeah. We make a lot of weapons on Destiny 2, right? And so why are we excited about the weapons this time? I think the team sort of really looked and said, what's core to Destiny, right? Like, what's really important? And we said, hey, like, Destiny's at its best when you're getting a bunch of new weapons, and those weapons are so exciting that they are making it onto your character right away. They're like changing the way you play. So this is not just exotics, right? It's not just like, I think it was alluded to, like, what if Golden Gun was a sniper rifle? Pretty cool sniper rifle. I think it's also, we talked about these new, weapon subtypes. And so what's a support auto rifle? We've made guns that heal before. We've made exotics that do it. Well, if we do it in a legendary, what needs to be different about it so we can make this thing that feels as useful to a fire team as someone bringing Galahorn, that feels as useful as someone, bringing Divinity, right? And we know that's the bar that we have to hit. So we're looking at a bunch of different things and saying, okay, we're going to make these guns and we're going to make them matter, right? We're going to go out and you're going to get awesome stuff on, the Pale Heart. I think we showed a little bit of it. There's like these sweet, they look like a deck of cards if you go back and watch the footage. And there's a bunch of awesome stuff coming in the weapons. And so I think we're really just trying to hit that core, like, hey, we're a loot game, right? Like, the loot should be awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, me too. So speaking of the Pale Heart, the reveal, it was said in the reveal that the Pale Heart destination is the first linear destination ever done. So can you talk us through why it was decided to make it more linear destination?
All right, linear.
And
like,
what it means.
Yeah. So
the math lesson now?
Yeah, I'm not sure how many folks have been in algebra recently, but if you're like me and need a little refresher, linear line, right?
Walk
like
me
that's
through
what
it.
we're saying here. So a classic Destiny destination, we think about it as a loop, right? There are these big public areas. They're all connected in a circle. And then from those areas, there's little offshoots. There are little alleyways that you can go to. And that just didn't make sense for going inside the Traveler. One, because the Traveler is huge. When we talk about the Pale Heart, we're saying, like, hey, what if you were an alien, you landed on Earth, and the only part of Earth you saw was like a parking lot in Montana. And you were like, oh, this place is huge, right? Like, it's sort of like, okay, so we're going to show you a really small slice of what is inside the Traveler. And then we said, it needs to feel like you're going somewhere important. It's a vast, unknowable place. Okay, well, on one end, we've got the portal.
Right.
And on the other end, we've got the Witness that's built this giant monolith. And so every single area that we've built is built in a consecutive line from one to the other. So you travel through these things and you can look back at once were. And if you need to go to the next part, you're not going into these offshoots that dead end. You are going to where you need to be going. It's really focused on, hey, you've got a job to do here.
So it's like tracking your journey.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Okay, cool. Well, that sounds insane. So, super different.
That's what we go for.
During the showcase, it was also mentioned that completing the campaign would unlock the full destination, and that it almost like reacts as we progress. Is that kind of what you're hinting at, or can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so I think two things we want people really to come away with thinking when they think about. One, this is a bit different in the way that you experience the Pale Heart right away. So normally you might land on the throne world and you do a mission, and then you're out with your Sparrow exploring the throne world, doing the missions if you want to. Day one of the final shape, you got a job to do, right?
Okay.
And so it is mission, right? And you just go through and you say, hey, we've got to stay focused on this thing. When you get to the end of that day one experience, everyone can sort of like collectively take a breath, collect themselves, and then you just this realization like, oh, we're like inside the Traveler, right? Like we should probably go see what that's about.
Right.
And so the whole destination unlocks for you. And there's a lot of things that are different about the Pale Heart than our other destinations. I think we're gonna save some of those juicy tidbits for what's different about this destination and how it sort of
When is update? I don't know. I think maybe in like 6 minutes. Not sure.
It's a pretty
What's
different
updates?
experience
How
than
you
even
doing?
what you
Welcome.
might expect in somewhere like the Dreaming City.
And for real, like we do want to save some of these juicy tidbits, not just because it's fun, but because like
I could be wrong, though, but I would
the
think it would
Traveler's
be in
just
like
been
6
this
minutes, like
inscrutable
usual.
godlike sphere that people have wanted to know more about for so long, and like this is their opportunity to experience some of that mystery, and I'm excited to see how that plays out.
Well, it's alive, right? So, what can we really expect?
Yeah, I think we talked about this. We showed a little bit. The section that you're in, it's shaped off of who's there, right? And so who's been there?
That's so cool.
The witness, right? The witness
messing stuff up.
Yeah, chilling right there. We're trying to knock on the door. We don't know how to get inside. And we're gonna make it eventually. And so it's got this both really unique aspect to it, and a bunch of the geo looks like stuff that you've never seen before. A bunch of these places feel like, this heaven on one side, hell maybe in the middle, crazy destiny surrealness at the end. And then there are these accents of like, I'm at like a crazy heavenly beach, and then you see this giant ghost carved into a mountain, or you see the D1 tower erecting out of this. And so, we're really excited to sort of give people this like distilled destiny experience that still feels really new when you're in there.
It's amazing.
So Dan, we've got feedback from players who wanted to learn more about the origins of the Witness and the Veil during the Lightfall campaign, rather than wait until like later on in the seasons. So players have big narrative expectations for the final shape. How are we taking this feedback and making this the epic conclusion that this first saga deserves?
Oh yeah, no, I mean this is the sort of fun of the challenge for this, right? Because the Light and Darkness saga has been such a focal through line for really most of Destiny's existence, right? Like it is this epic story. Joe was just talking about, some of that sort of culmination of experience inside the Pale Heart.
It's essentially
and so
Destiny.
This is a spot where we have to really land that culmination in a satisfying way, right? Like there is a confrontation that's been happening. There's a story that's been being told. This part of the Destiny world, we have to end really well, and the players deserve that, and the story deserves that. And so there's some things we're doing to account for that. But in addition, we have to set up the next set of stories. We're going to talk probably more about episodes in a bit.
God.
But like starting after the final shape with the new episodes framework that we're rolling
Just
out.
leave it
we're gonna
be
tell
like
all
you
different
used to.
stories, and we'll learn more about the world of Destiny moving forward. So that's the unique challenge that we are taking very seriously. And to accommodate that,
Don't need
we've
nothing set
done
up.
more, I think, on the narrative side of the fence than we've even done in the past. More significant writers' rooms. We brought in more folks from even other parts of the studio to really kind of consult on this and make sure that, all of our fans who probably know the Destiny lore better than I do are getting the pieces and answers to the questions that they want answered. Unless we want to save some of those questions for the future stories that we're going to tell.
That's why I just said that's.
There's more to it that you and the team have been doing as well. If you want to
Tell a good story. Don't worry about setting up your next fucking story. You know what I
Cosmos and
mean?
Pika's questions and give them the note card shuffle here in a minute. I think one of the things that we knew that was going to be challenging about this is, hey, we're telling the climax of the story. We know that, hey, when you get in the final shape, in those first moments, we want you to feel like, okay, Bungie delivered on this promise, like delivered on this promise of becoming legend, delivered on like really putting a bow on the Traveler and Pyramid story. The thing that was also important for us is like, okay, well, you're gonna like confront the Witness, like the biggest bad in Destiny. Like, okay, we think you have to confront the Witness in the raid, right? Like a version of Destiny's chronological history where like the Witness was tough. Not quite as tough as Valkaor, right? Like it's probably not a thing that our players are gonna be super happy about, not a thing I'm gonna be happy about. And so what we really think is this day one experience is sort of like the penultimate episode or right before the season finale of your favorite TV show. And it really sets the stage for, hey, this is exactly what's going on in the world of Destiny. The stakes have never been higher. You go through a pretty epic journey. And then we say, okay, now we have to have this raid beat. And so it's sort of a reverse Taken King. If some of our people remember that moment in the Taken King, we delivered a thing where, hey, day one, for 80% of our players, they're like, I dealt with Oryx. And then for like 20%, there was this other thing that they could go do, have another experience with Oryx.
Right.
And so for this one, we say, hey, we want everyone to go really set up what's happening in the final shape. And then for everyone, right, and we're not going to get into that, right, you should all wait for the raid, right? Like, and we're going to like help make sure everyone is brought along for the end of this journey. I think it takes a lot of our learnings from both really classic experiences like Crota and Oryx and sort of infuses them with what we've been doing with things like Savathûn and Callus and like taking all that lessons and saying, okay, we think we can do this the right way.
Yeah, and also just for something like this, when you complete the circle of this story that we've been telling, we want to make sure that we're paying homage to the things of the past, and we're talking through just so many of the things that have made this story what it is, but also telling it in a way where if you're coming into the final shape as your first experience, you can enjoy the mission, you can enjoy the campaign, you can understand what is happening.
Right.
But there's just a lot more if you have almost a decade's worth of Destiny play knowledge that you can look at.
So it kind of sounds like that means I have to play the raid to get the full story?
No. Now, while we're really excited about something like Fireteam Finder coming in and making it easier for anyone to get into the raid and experience those beats, yeah, I think the different part from our strategy startup as in the past was we said, hey, there's something more for those who raid. There is a piece of the story, right, that is told in the raid. There's a piece that's essential. But it is definitely not going to be a moment where only raiders get to see the end of the Light and Darkness saga.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Probably like a mission or something
carefully skirt
unlocks
around
after the raid.
1,000 plot points
Calling
here.
it.
So, we showed a
Maybe, like,
glimpse of the new
everybody will
enemy,
go
the
through.
subjugators. Are they going to be as terrifying as the tormentors? Like, what sets them apart from previous enemies?
Yeah, we were running through some questions yesterday, just like this.
Man raid
Spoiler
or
alert,
something,
we
that'd
do
be funny as
reference
crap.
a little bit. Like we do think about this. And I got in trouble because I said several obscenities last time I did this. So I'm not going to do that today on stream.
Who scolded you?
It could have been anyone. It could have been anyone that scolded me.
Okay.
And so I've been playing a lot of the Final Shape recently, probably surprising to no one. Subjugators are very different than Tormentors. Tormentors are sort of like this Kool-Aid man that busts through the wall and is like saying, hey, all right, look at me, right? Oh, okay. And Subjugators for us, they come out in these moments where you feel like you have a battlefield full of enemies, and then you hear the pyramid screech sound.
There's a
and you're
sound.
Like, and a Subjugator beams in, and it's like they're the ultimate sort of backfield tactician, right? And they're doing things like giving everyone around it little pyramid buddies. Like you've been shot in PvP with an Arc Soul. Like imagine 10 taken Scions, and suddenly a Subjugator's like, what if you all had little pyramid buddies? And you're like, oh, thanks, Subjugator, right? And so there's still these moments where you're like, you might want to just hold on to your super. You might want to hold on to some heavy ammo when you're playing through the campaign,
Hey, what up,
just in
Perkaholic?
case this bust
No,
through.
she's
I
doing
think one
a
other
little
thing
bit
that we
better,
really
man,
learned
but she's
from
resting
both
you now.
Tormentors and Light
How you
Hive
doing, sir?
is sort of
Appreciate
building
you
these
asking.
sort of like captain-y units, right? These things that feel scary. And we were very careful in both Witch Queen and in Lightfall to make sure, hey, we don't want to overuse these. We don't want this to become a thing where you get a bounty and it's like, kill 20 Light Hive. Like, oh, wow, they're just everywhere. And I think we were striking an even better balance now that we have a palette of these captains where it feels like, hey, I'm getting these like really meaty sandbox experiences. And we know how to sort of engage them in both the destination and the strike and the mission. So I'm really happy with a bunch of the learning the team has been taking as we continue to make these things.
Oh, totally. Yeah, my super basic take from having played it is that like, and I didn't know how this was going to play out until I experienced it. Joe described it really well, but it's what I want from these units as a player is I want that moment of ha and insert obscenity here so Cosmo doesn't yell at me. But like, and the Subjugator absolutely delivers that in the same way that I felt from the Tormentor and the same way I definitely felt the first time I saw the Light Hive. But it's just, to Joe's point, it's a very different way, right? Like it is, when it comes out, like I'm just as terrified and worried for myself and my fire team, but for different reasons, and with different tactics, and you have to approach them a very different way. So I think it feels very good to me, at least as a player.
Why am I already nervous?
Because whatever he just described, what you were picturing, is probably lighter than what's actually going to happen. Like
great.
everybody's are Arc Souls, and to say.
I'm picturing some, okay.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous. Okay, so Dan, this is for you. Your favorite, or everyone's, not yours, everyone's favorite hunter, Cade 6, is seemingly back from the dead. Can we get a little bit of the story on that?
I mean, I'll happily take this one because I love talking about Cade 6. I mean, here's the reality. We've been talking about this all coming full circle, and Joe was talking about the campaign as mission. You have a mission. There's a thing that has to happen. And like both as players and developers, it was just hard to picture finishing this fight without Cade 6, right? And so we brought Cade 6 back, and you're going to get less details than you want, but Cade 6 is back for this fight, and like, it was super important to us as you go through to have Cade 6, Zavala, Ikora, on comms talking through, and I think the most critical part of that is it's Cade 6 with Nathan Fillion, and I don't know about everybody else.
It's not really getting
like,
better,
Joe and I were
man,
talking
but
about
I mean,
this
she's
yesterday, and I
getting
think Joe
better
said it
at
really
least,
well,
but...
which is like when you're playing through the builds as you're going through,
oh man,
and the
that
moment
sucks.
Nathan's
Well, hopefully you're
line
doing
started
well.
actually coming through recorded, man, it just hits different, right? Like it just changes the dynamic for me as far as like what I feel about what's going through,
She
the
got
sort of
through the
complexities of the
surgery
story.
good.
But the part that's important, I think, to know is that like this is Cade. Like Cade is back. Cade is with you on this journey. He is your guide through the Pale Heart.
Yeah.
And there's other stuff that we're not going to talk about just yet because I want players to experience it. But yeah, anything more you want to add there? It's exciting.
No, we'll probably say this a few times. We were like, what's the final shape? How are we going to do this? What's really important? We really wanted to make sure that this experience felt like the most distilled version of Destiny. Like it's Destiny dialed up to 11. It is the like Destiny extract that if you were baking with, you're like, you only need a few drops. Like this is very potent. And for us, we knew, hey, we've been planning this narrative roadmap out for a long time. We were like, okay, we know we need to make the best of this moment that we have with Cade here. But I think it was really, again, as the VO starts to come in and you're in these missions, you're like, oh, that's like Cade 6 talking to me.
Yeah.
And even, I wouldn't say everyone's favorite hunter. I mean, Eris Morn might have something to say about that. But yeah, it really starts to be like, okay, yeah, this is that distilled Destiny experience.
Yeah. I'm now picturing Destiny extract on the Bungie store. I don't know what it's for,
I think
but
you got something here, actually. You could bottle this.
Yeah. Not sure what it smells like.
Good point.
I don't even want to speculate.
Yeah, just stop.
So we've been talking about Final Shape. Let's talk about episodes. We've seen some feedback from the players that the season model has gotten a bit predictable at times, and we just saw in the showcase our content cadence is getting refreshed with this episode model. Can you talk us through what episodes are and how they're going to be different than seasons?
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, let's start with sort of what episodes are at their core, right? I think the easiest way to think about episodes is the natural evolution of the seasonal model. Because the seasonal model's done a lot of great things for Destiny. I think we've run seasons for the better part of 3 years at this point, and it has allowed us to deliver, really quality experiences at a 3 month, very fast cadence, really move the story forward. I think we've told some great stories, introduced some new activities, new mechanics, really moved everything forward. The problem is, and if we're being honest with ourselves, and I'm going to be honest with ourselves, we really bias towards consistency to do that, right? Like we wanted to deliver it quality, we wanted to deliver it on time,
yeah,
all
for
the
sure,
time
dude.
to the player.
Well, hopefully you rest up and hit me up, man. We'll do that.
Almost sort of by design in a certain way, which is now I think stretched out to the end of its utility. So episodes change up the framework and change up the delivery cadence. So there are 3 episodes a year. The first one will start alongside the final shape, and parts of it will start a little bit after. We can touch on that in a sec. But these 3 episodes are split into 3 acts each.
Oh my god!
And this means 2 things really. One, that now what you're really looking at is 9 beats a year that are 6 weeks apart, and each of these beats gives us an opportunity to materially change the state of the game, to materially move the meta forward, introduce new story, introduce new weapons, new perks, new activities, and it doesn't have to be so formulaic. So it allows us to do what I think Destiny does really well, which is get a little weird at times. It allows us to throw. I have some really bad baseball metaphors I'm not going to use, but like throw some curveballs into.
You just said you weren't going to use the baseball
metaphors. Use the bad one.
Okay,
it's a good one. I can get really deep with this metaphor, and it's going to be interesting to about 4 people, so we're not going to do that. But it allows us to react more to what else is going on in the game. It allows us to change up the way we look at content delivery in a way that I think is just strictly better for all of us who are players, right? Like these 6 weeks, the 6 weeks in between major beats, I think is a really good way for players to, play Destiny in where, within their own lifestyle, how it fits into the white space of their life. I think it allows us to introduce different things, to try some different things, like I said, make it weird, and really start to experiment in a couple of places because of it. Not everything has to be there all at once, right at the top. Right. So I think what episodes allows us to do is to not only continue telling stories in a new and pretty interesting way, but it also allows us to just really amp up the variety of the types of things that we can bring and when we can bring them into the game, which I think is just going to be a great experience.
Absolutely. What does that mean for the reward track?
Yeah, so one of the most interesting things that we're doing with episodes is probably how they start.
Okay.
So for us, again, we've talked a lot. It's pretty important.
You just been playing console in bed. That's how you gotta do it, son. At least you can.
Everyone in the universe is saying, you know what's important? This whole thing that's going on in the Traveler right now. We've got to stay really focused. So we wanted the episodes to be a reaction to what happens when the final shape resolves, right? And so this means both. We don't want to tell a competing story at the same time.
True.
And we want, hey, once the first episode kicks off, for it to be in the context of what happens in the final shape. So the majority of the narrative content, the activity content, really when the episode begins, happens that reset after the raid. However, right away, we know there are some systems that just need to be online. So the reward track, you're going to be able to get Red Death, log into the game, claim it from the past. I've been using it a lot in playtests.
All right, man, you rest up, Perkaholic. Take it easy, man. Yeah, for sure, hit me up.
Well, you did.
So. Yeah,
enjoy the rest of your day.
I said it was a solar weapon. I think we're excited for that. And there's even a few stuff that you're going to be able to get weapon-wise from the episodes themselves. We have another sub-archetype that's going to be out there. We haven't talked about what sub-archetype that is, but we might see it in sub. I think it's the kind of thing that people are going to be like, oh, I might bring this to the Raids World First Race. And so we're excited for both having some of this content available right away, but keeping the meat of that narrative, keeping what's important for the story and the world of Destiny to say, no. We're going to say everyone's on the same page when this kicks off. If you are in episode 1, you're hearing those lines of dialogue, you're getting those story beats, everyone is saying, okay, we all just saw what happened, right? Like we were all there for that. And yeah, we were.
And nuts and bolts wise, so episodes, we're still going to run season passes alongside episodes.
Of course you are.
And so before, where it was a season pass specific to a season, now it's actually going to reset at every act. So you'll have 100 ranks for the first act of each episode, and then 50 additional will be added for each subsequent act. So 200 ranks throughout the course of an entire episode.
Makes sense.
And that length actually allows us to add some more stuff to it, right?
Yeah, I think we want to make sure that those additional ranks in Act 2 and Act 3 are really rewarding, and so we've both learned from our players, like, hey, we really value this. Can we get more of this? And so, like, great, we got that. And then we're also just going back to some old experiments. One of the things I'm really excited about is, in the 30th anniversary, we tried this experiment where, like, we're going to give everybody a tiger helmet, right? And it's like silver and it glows, and I'm like, yeah, and Hunters, Titans, Warlocks, they can all wear it. I'm like, maybe we should do that again. Maybe that should be what's on the very end of the pass, where you, not only is there, a unique armor set, but at the end you can be like, hey, and I was there, I did the whole thing right now. Like, I have like this awesome helmet and everyone wears the same thing. Yep. So we're excited to be taking a lot of learnings and pushing this and saying, okay, I think we've made a thing that players are gonna be able to sink their teeth into and feel rewarded from and be excited about.
Yeah.
I like the idea of having like a unique reward to an episode. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, you answered the question about 2 separate narratives, so we don't need that card anymore. Good. What about the artifacts, like the perks? Like, are players going to have a different experience there, or are they going to are they going to get the same kind of like day one? Or
yeah, so day one, you're going to see something that looks exactly what you expect the artifact to look like, right? It's got the same amount of rows and columns. We've really been honing in on how to like make each artifact feel different. What's going to happen, though, is when Act 2 rolls around, some magic space appears at the top of the artifact, and a whole nother row appears.
Nice.
And so this is not meaning you're going to get less in Act 1. You're going to get the same amount you're used to. But Act 2 brings another row. Whole new ways to modify the game. And Act 3, another row on top of that. So we really want these acts to feel like, hey, it's not just that we're bringing new activity content in. It's not just that we're bringing new narrative content in. We are shaking up the meta. There's new rewards, there's new ways to play, there's new nightfalls in the rotation, right? All of this is sort of what we're pitting out. It's like, yeah, we love this idea of, players finishing the final shape, an episode kicking off, and then just being a few weeks away from like, wait, Act 2 is like weeks away? And you're like, yeah, it's right around the corner. And then they're in Act 2 and like, oh, Act 3 is weeks away? Yeah. Like, how can we make sure that Destiny always feels like it's changing and evolving?
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll be like really refreshing more often. But can you tell us what happens after the first 3 episodes? What's next with Destiny 2?
So the episodes are our new storytelling framework. You're going to get less information than you want. But they allow us to really move the story forward in different ways. And so one of the things that we want to experiment with is, can we make some of these episodes more standalone stories? Do they have to all interconnect? Can you play them in specific orders, things like that? And so, after the episode 3, the intention is to continue rolling episodes forward and keep telling different stories and take whatever learnings that we get from the first 3 episodes and start to evolve the framework.
Yeah, and I don't think Dan's gonna kill me here, but we'll see. So maybe keep that coffee cup out of his hand.
I'm waiting for a spit take.
We got a lot of people. Most of them are at home. I was gonna point to the other side of the office. Most of us work from home now. That are working on Destiny 2 and are going to still be working on Destiny 2 after the final shape. And so,
I'm not gonna kill you for that.
It is not just episodes. Like, we know there's a bunch of content and there's different ways that we can get that into players' hands, and those folks still want to make that content, like the awesome stuff that we're sort of known for. And so again, we'll be a little coy here today, but yeah, just to go back to what Robbie was saying, like, hey, we got some more tread on the tires here, and we're excited to show you where we're driving.
Yeah, and again, to what we were saying before, we think the episode model with the 3-act structure allows more like flexibility for us to make some of that cool content and make some different content. And I think the team is pretty excited about that too.
So episode 4. Maybe,
awesome.
Who knows?
You got to find out what happens in the first 3 episodes.
All right, so...
All right, here's the entire story. No.
All right, well, I cracked the code. What are some changes that are coming that will make it easier to get my friends in the game?
There's a ton. I mean, there's a ton. So
we're gonna make all the old DLC
we'll
free
some specifics, but like finding ways to make it easier for people to group up and play together and improve that experience was a pretty big focus for the last year and a half and
That's
moving
not,
forward.
I feel like like a super mega issue,
especially in quarantine. But
so we got Fireteam Finder coming in season 20.
Absolutely, yeah. But even before we get into the specifics, like Destiny's just better when you're playing with friends. It's better in groups. It's better with a fire team. And so being able to build that fire team and being able to play the best content is the sort of overarching goal for what we're trying to do. And yeah, so we got Fireteam Finder, we got Fireteam Power, we've got Timeline,
Reflections.
That's
and we probably got another scoop or two. I'm making sure that Kelly isn't opening that door to run over and tackle me before I give another thing here. Season 22. Oh, we can say Season of the Witch now. Season of the Witch.
Yep. That's right.
Today is coming out with a thing that we sort of call like the main quest update. This is an update to your quest page.
Okay.
Where we're like taking over that front page and saying, hey, this is the big quest. And here's another quest that's important. And so we think super important for our new players that get inundated with a ton of content to go see. And they're like, wow, what are my friends focused on? Can I make sure that's out? This is great for them. It's also great for people that are already playing Destiny and the like, okay, I finished day one of the final shape. And you're like, I got a lot of, which ones are the important ones, right? Which ones are first? And so there's a group of, a big group of developers here who are always looking and saying, okay, what's the next pain point for Destiny players?
Sure.
And so we're really excited about Fireteam Power. I think it's going to both be a way that for engaged Destiny players to still really care about getting their power up and their light up, but also allow, I've got friends that haven't played Destiny in a while, and I would love to just say to them, hey, just get in the game. Whatever guns you have, you're going to group up with me. We're going to do the dungeon.
Yep.
We're going to go play PvP. We're going to go do this thing, and you're going to be able to enjoy yourself. And there's still this incentive for them, like, okay, well, I'd rather be not 5 under Joe's power and seeing him beat me on the damage tables, right? Like, let's clear that gap. But for a bunch of people that want to come back and play with their friends, I think we're doing a lot here. We're excited about Fireteam Finder as well. Like, I think there's going to be this whole new influx of Guardians in season 23. They're going to be like, Last Wish. So what's that all about, right? Like, I've heard some things. There's a dragon there. Let's just go check that out. And I think it's a big precursor to what we want Destiny to be. We want to stop hiding our best content by a bunch of walls behind people and say, no, come in here, experience this. There's a lot to chase.
Yeah.
Even after you access the content. So let's make it easier to access the content.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. Is just that, like, I want an experience for Guardians between Fireteam Finder and Fireteam Power, and where you can come into the game and be like, I heard that's the best content in the game. I want to be able to go play it, and be able to go play it. Right?
Are you this tall? Sorry.
Yeah, you can't run. Right, exactly. Like, I feel called out. But in all seriousness, like, that's the goal behind all these systems. And I think Joe painted a really good picture of why it's still important for the really, top end players to really want to go and keep themselves as high end and have all the weapons and all that stuff, even for that content. But give those other players the ability to try it, because I think that's where Destiny's at its best, is in some of those.
And we didn't talk a bunch about this, but we know that Guardian Ranks has done a bunch for our new players this year in helping them get through and onboard the systems. But Guardian Ranks wasn't able to solve, like, okay, I understand what a mod is, but who are these people? Who are the Hive? Who is Cade 6? Everyone keeps talking about Cade 6. And so Timeline Reflections, we're not going to put Bife out of business anytime soon, but getting that experience in-game to be able to go, look, hey, I want to go to the timeline. I want to read a thing. I can watch a thing. Oh, and I can play a thing, right? Like, it's one thing to hear about Cade. It's another thing to play with Cade.
Right.
And I think that for, a bunch of our new players, it's going to be an exciting way to experience some content. And I think even some of our older players are just going to be like, you know what I want to go do today?
A little nostalgia.
I want to go hang out with Cade 6 in a prison.
That's right.
I like it. So can you kind of explain how Fireteam Power works for us?
Yeah, so there's 2 ways that we're really thinking about power in Final Shape and beyond. One is what we're calling power fixed activities. And so this is stuff like free roam,
This shit's kind of getting boring.
the regular strikes queue. the base power of an exotic mission, right? Which we're really excited. Like, we want to build more Seraph Shields. We want to build more Presages. And so for a bunch of this, we're going to say, even if you don't have a friend, right? Go into this, bring whatever you want. We've adjusted the difficulty for it to just feel good to play, right? And so we know you want to go around the destination and be able to one-shot dregs with the hand cannon. Yeah. We also want the destination to put up a little bit of resistance and to feel like maybe I can't be shot by 15 dregs. And so like we're dialing in that power, but it's like, okay, this is a great like base experience. For the story of Final Shape, that experience is power fixed. So you're gonna get power upgrades, but you don't have to equip them, right?
Right.
Then post that, we say, hey, we've got a bunch of power-enabled activities too. There's the aspirational stuff, the raid, the dungeon, trials, right? For this, say, okay, I care about power. And so we've got an employee that we like to pick on here, a guy by the name of Matt Noguchi, who is a very hardcore Destiny player. I think that I'm a hardcore Destiny player, and then I look at my friends list, I'm like, how is his pass level this high, right? Like,
amazing.
And so we still want to say, hey, you feel like you're rewarded and engaged, but you can go into Nightfall and let's say, hey, you've been out across the world doing good deeds. You weren't able to play Destiny for the last 3 months. And come back and say, I like Destiny, but what I really like are dungeons, really like are raids. Yeah. Okay. Get in Matt Noguchi's fire team. Anyone that's in, a pre-made fire team, whether you made this fire team in Fire Team Finder or whether you made it from your friends list, it's going to look at, say, who's the highest fire team, like who's the highest power level, and then it's going to take that and say, we're dialing the numbers. I think right now it's 5. It might be 3. Yeah. I'm going to say, okay, everyone in here, 5 below, no matter what. Now, if you're close on that, great. We're going to respect your power, but no matter what guns you have, no matter what armor you have, we're going to say, hey, we're going to take this all up. And so you don't have to worry about, hey, I don't have the new stuff that I need. Instead, we're like, hey, go play the raid and then go get the new really good raid weapons, right? Like that's the thing we want you to be caring about. Not that you can't step in the content at all, right? Focus on the optimization, not on the requirement.
So I can load in with the green loadout?
You want to. Listen, I put on some armor that can't take resistance mods, and that's a bold choice.
But doable.
But doable, yeah. We will not, so I'm sure we'll see some wacky raid clears that are like, I did it all in the Broken Parade set. And they're like, you certainly did.
That sucks for you.
Yeah. What about with trials? It's like the one kind of like PvP's the thing that
yeah, so we know there are some important reasons to keep power on in trials and really try to keep that a fair playing field. And so right now it's power enabled, and we're going to have a switch where we're going to say, hey, we're going to test out Fire Team power in this.
Okay.
Because 1, we want to make sure that we keep that experience in a good spot. 2, like it is an experience where I've got this friend Shane, and he is a master with Golden Gun, but he plays Destiny off and on. I would love to be able to say, Shane, we're playing trials this weekend, and I know you haven't played in a while. Please just put the client back on, get inside, and him just be able to go. And I'll have better weapons, I'll have better armor, but he's still going to pop Golden Gun and get us 2 kills every time. And so I think we do want to still have that, experience for even at the high end of PvP. We just want to make sure we do it right. And so it is something that we are walking in carefully and saying, okay, we're going to try this. We're going to test it. If it doesn't work, we're going to find a different solution.
Yeah, and specifically, we're going to we want us to have room to experiment. And so I think Joe's right, where we'll start off with it power enabled sometime during the episode. We'll flip that switch and we'll communicate that out, and we'll make sure everyone's aware that it's coming, and we'll see how it goes. And if it goes really well, we'll figure out what to do with that next. And if it doesn't, we'll figure out if there's something else we need to try differently. But yeah, so I'm excited to see if it gets more variety of players into trials and more people who didn't feel like they could do it before give it a go, which would be interesting.
That sounds great. So kind of on that note, the in-game LFG has been an ask for a long time. Can we talk about the Fire Team Finder experience a little bit more?
Yeah.
So this is probably, I'm a big LFG user. Like when someone's like, Joe, we want to raid this time, this day. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing that time. That day. My desired raid experience is that I log in and I say, I have, an hour, I have 2 hours, and I'm like, I want to raid right now. So I'll go to my friends list, and if I don't have friends on to play with, I will go to one of the community-run LFGs. And there are so many great services out there that do this.
Right.
But for a bunch of players, they don't understand that exists. They don't have access to this. It can be a pretty big hurdle to just be like, hey, I'm just looking to do the, legend version of this activity. I wish I could just go in game and say, I'm not quite comfortable with match-made people, but if I can get you in a group with me and we can talk about it, can we make that fast? Can we make that so I just like, hey, what do I want to do? Okay, I want to do the new seasonal activity. I want to do it legend. And you can pick, even at this stage, you can say, just give me people and we'll go right away. Right? I'll take the random draw. You can also say, no. Give me people and I want to be able to approve or deny them when they come in. They say, hey, is this someone you want? Okay, yeah. We talked in chat. I don't think you're the right person. We're going to wait until we get the people that we want. And so it's really about striking this balance of both being customizable for folks that are like, I'd like to do a teaching run. I'm a guide player. I want to teach people how to do Switch. And also sometimes we have players that like, I've got 45 minutes to do Ghost in the Deep. I do not want to teach right now, right? And so I can go in there and I can say, hey, I'm looking for people with this Guardian rank. I'm looking for people that are experienced and want to go fast. And we know that we need to build a looking for group tool that can do both of those things. And so it's a big step. These systems are very challenging, and I think we're going to learn a lot.
The final shit
of the season. This is coming out in season 23, and we are going to get people looking at this, playing this, and we're going to
some things look good, and some things are just kind of like,
and really make sure that we're in a good shape.
Like I feel really bad about the fact that they're like talking about the story after. Okay, cool. Let that be set up another time. Focus on this story.
That like pinnacle experience, right? Like new players don't know to go out of the game and look for these really legitimately good community services. But like, I think a lot of players stay contained to what's inside of the client, and we want to make sure that those players can have the same grouping experience as the core fans who've learned how to do it in those community activities. So
just to nerd out about this a little bit more, so there's like 2 ways to enter into the Fire Team Finder flow. There might actually be a few more. Like one, there's like I'm gonna go select Fire Team Finder from my roster, and you're gonna go into there and you're gonna see okay, do I want to do raids? You're gonna pick through this whole flow. There's another way. If you like go click on a raid or a thing which you could have with other people, in the roster where you see where all the emblems go. Yeah. It'll have your emblem right now.
Showed that now effort was put into the expansion.
Hey, do you want to use Fire Team Finder for this?
Yeah.
You just click on that button.
I do kind of agree.
Here you go. Right? Like,
it is kind of sad to see what Destiny 2 has become.
Expose a bunch of people.
It's constantly this. This is what it is.
More, Guardian rank 7s into Guardian rank 8s and expose some of
they got time to put in the freaking Eververse store, but I mean, your fucking content. Give me some Taken King expansion or something again.
Yeah, it's great that we're like setting this up as additive too. So like you said, we're not gonna like go out and take down any of these LFG.
How they're talking about episodes. Let me pay the price of a season pass for the entirety of the episodes, not fucking have to buy individual things for each one.
Is it time?
I think the guided games beta might eventually be coming to an end, and so I think we want to make sure we do this in the right way. I know there's some emblems and things that are connected to that, but we really see Fire Team Finder as just the fully fledged version of how to find a group, and so this is definitely the future for finding groups, and we think it's going to solve a bunch of problems. Like, hey, can I make sure that I'm finding people with the same desires as me, and a bunch of things that really guided games can do, and so. Yeah, definitely in the future, we don't want people being like, oh, how should I get into a group? Should I go on guided games? Like, no, go to Fire Team Finder!
Go get those rewards while they last.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Joe, this is for you. You mentioned in your video on Twitter last week, in the reveal, we wouldn't be talking about a Strange Coin and Xur revamp or the rework of the HUD. Here we are in the post-show. Surprise.
Wow.
Can you say anything about those things?
I feel like I have a lot more makeup on than I had in my office last week. Okay. I don't want to spoil too much here. I think starting with Strange Coins, we want to do two things here. One, we want to make Xur a really exciting experience, right? And this Xur has felt this presence for our most regular players. Have been like, what Xur got on the weekend? I think we still have that for newer players. They're like, oh, I gotta go to Xur. Like, we've lost it with our people that play Destiny every week. And so I think one, it's putting Xur back into this. Like, you're gonna be excited about what Xur is telling this week. Two, it's like going back to Strange Coins, right? Like this feeling of,
I think it's stupid. You can only hold 30 Strange Coins.
Strikes, PvP. I'm getting these coins, and I'm like, what am I going to spend them on? And so this is also about making some of our ritual content rewarding. It's optional. Pick what you want to do. Play Gambit, play Strikes, play Crucible. But you're going to do that, and you're going to get something, and you're like, hey, how's my Strange Coin purse looking, right? Like, and then when's Xur coming? Because certainly a lot of Guardians were caught by surprise early in Destiny's life cycle of, is that really worth my Strange Coins? And they lived to regret that moment. And so, maybe a little bit of that coming back wouldn't be a bad thing.
That's good.
Oh, HUD? Was that the other one? Yeah. I think, to talk, sort of zoom out and talk about HUD, for our players that get really into build crafting and go into some really tricky activities, there's gonna be this moment where you look on the left-hand side of your screen, like, oh, there's a lot of text there, and it's important and it's hard to parse. And this is the thing that we're like, hey, we've just got to make this more clear. And so really this update is about moving some of that stuff around the HUD to better locations to make it more clear, hey, what's coming from my Guardian, what's coming from the environment or from enemies, and making sure that the important stuff stays on screen, right? And
like Unstable Light.
Like,
Stuff that should have been there since day one.
I mean, I'm constantly like, how many armor charges do I have, right? Like, oh, how much time do I have left before I die, right? And like, let's sort of start getting that information in the right places.
Seems important.
Yeah.
So there's been some fans wondering, like, as we expand out, start working on new projects, become a true multi-IP studio, there's worry that those teams may take away resources that were meant for Destiny. Like, what are we doing as a studio to take on this challenge?
Yeah, no, I appreciate this question. So, like, there's a couple things we need to understand, right? Like, Joe and I have been talking for a while now about just how much stuff is coming after the final shape, and all the work going to episodes, and potentially more beats later next year. And like, we still have a great, talented team working on all of those things. When we start up new projects, we're deliberate about who moves over and who stays behind, things like that. And really from there start hiring more people to try and work these things out. I mean, Bungie itself has increased in size as we've expanded and started working on more projects. That is because we are bringing in folks to make sure that we can expand out while still maintaining the work that we already have. And so, like, if you just look at what's coming down the pipe with all the work, all the stuff coming from episodes, beats down the line, all the work in the live game that Joe's been talking about, we still have a really hungry and talented team with a mixture of veterans and new folks, which is always the case, who are coming in to, just keep moving Destiny forward and keep it fresh. So I think strategically, like, it's always a challenge when you're at any kind of scale. But I'm very impressed, and have been for the years I've been here, with the way that we bring in talent and the type of talent that comes and wants to work on Destiny. And I think there's even some areas where we've seen that fresh talent has brought some of the new exciting stuff you've been talking about.
I mean, here's some personal stuff. I didn't start on Destiny until right after The Dark Below shipped.
Yeah.
I had not made a first-person shooter before. I had worked on came from like the MMO sphere of game design. There are people that are working on Destiny to this day that taught me how to place a monster and it feel good for a first-person shooter. And like, there's a Jason Jones video that you watch when you start, right? There's like, hey, a senior activity designer pulls you into a room. We still have so much of this like really legacy talent on the Destiny 2 team. But I think the thing that always surprises me is time flies. You'll be like, oh, this is this person that's new to the studio. And they're actually like, actually, I've been here for 3 years and I'm like a god in the tools now. And you're like, oh, whoa, you are, right? And then suddenly they're the person that's pulling someone to a room and be like, let me teach you how to make a first-person shooter. It's really awesome to see that talent grow at Bungie. And I think what's really important is we still in the studio on the team have all these people that carry this legacy knowledge, and we are spreading it and propagating it. Sometimes not just to Bungie, sometimes to the rest of the games industry, and that's a really great culture to be a part of.
It is, and like, I mean, just recently I was in a playtest where, this is no joke, like it's, we had a smattering of folks who were in their first week. Like part of their first week was to be in this Final Shape playtest. Cool. And also in the same room were 2 20-plus year Bungie veterans who have been on Destiny from the jump, right? And so it's just, I know that like, it's probably hard to wrap your head around if you're not on the inside, and I don't want to start like naming names of people and whatnot, but like, it's just, I think the mix of, to Joe's point, of that like veteran savvy and you know, new fresh ideas, you know, new hunger for different parts of the game. I think just it's just a really cool culture, to Joe's point, and I think it does really good things for the game over time.
I love that. Well, this next question is completely unrelated, but
I love it.
But it's important. So the new supers.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Great transition. There are some new supers shown off that look spectacular. I noticed that the Warlock super looks like it took a lot of inspiration from Radiance. Well, he does say that in the video, but it looks really similar. How's it going to be different?
Yeah,
you can't self-revive.
Let's be like super candid. A bunch of Warlocks are probably watching this right now, and they're saying, Joe, aren't people just going to ask me to run well? Like, you keep giving me new supers, right? Aren't people going to ask me to run well? And so I think, one, we know that's an issue, and we're solving it in a bunch of ways. Like, maybe there's a support auto rifle solution to this problem. Maybe there's some different ways that we balance things that are going to be making this. But we know that for Warlocks, hey, the bar to clear here is, can I equip this in high-end content? And so a bunch has even happened since we've been recording. Here are the 2 things I think are really surprising about the Warlock Super. Okay, I'm gonna add a third.
Okay.
One, let's rip the Band-Aid off right away. We did not want to bring forward self-res, right?
Yes.
Like, and an effort where we're like, hey, we want to get the competitive aspect of Destiny to an awesome place. Like, one thing I think was not going to help us do that is self-res. It's going to be a really frustrating thing to fight against.
I really miss having to stand next to a ghost during the trial.
Yeah. Holy crap.
There, right? Like,
to stand on someone's ghost.
So if this super isn't about self-res, what's it about? And so we said, okay, first, we love this first-person guns-out experience. It's a really exciting thing if we do it well. And so, one, even if you don't have anyone around you, this new super is like a DPS machine, right? And so it provides that in a few ways. One, throwing a bird grenade at somebody does a lot of damage. 2, you equip the right melee. Again, you're going to just want to using those on cooldown. I think the sneaky one here, and it's not just for you, it's also for your allies, is, hey, we're going to let you put Scorch, not just on your weapon, but on your allies' weapon. And we've actually internally been like, okay, which weapons or which damage types get this debuff? And we're playing with that right now, or that buff. The amount of damage increase that you can put out from everyone on your fire team constantly causing explosions, it's high.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
And so, again, we talk about with all these supers, like, how do they fit into the meta? How do we get them to a point? And, you know, for some, it's going to be like, hey, we want this to be a PvP all-star.
Right.
For some, we're like, hey, we think it can do both. But really, the where we're at in the phase right now is saying, hey, how can players not just be excited that it's fun? Like we're really good at the hit feel here, but that's the baseline. The real goal has to be like, I want to use this thing. And so, yeah, Warlock's getting spices added to it right now. We're dialing in, but yeah, we're really excited with
Is Bird Grenade the shipping name?
Yeah. You can probably see that on the website somewhere right now. It's probably like, then Bird Grenade.
Bird Grenade, I like it. Similar beat then, the Hunter super looks a lot like Blade Dancer. Or Arcblade, Blade Dancer.
Yeah, I think sort of we wanted to do, we talked about this like Destiny extract. Right? I'm like, okay. I remember when D2 was coming out and we first showed the supers, that there was this really funny piece of fan art where everyone was talking about their new supers, and Hunter was a pole with 2 daggers on the end, and they're like, I got a new super too. And so we weren't like, okay, we know Blade Dancer's iconic, but like Arc Strider and Blade Dancer, pretty similar.
Right.
And so it came, I was like, okay, we still like missing this beat. And I can remember the first time we saw it, it's like, what do you do? It's like, you
insane.
throw the blade across the map, you teleport to where the blade is, and you spin, and then you have 2 more charges of that, right?
That's insane.
And so we're pretty confident, again, in the super. Where's it going to be good? It's going to be good when you've got a boss that you can melee.
Right.
I think where it's really the thing that we're looking at is like Crucible, right? Like Shaxx is like staring at hunters using this right now, and I think we're really like, hey, how can we make it hit the meta, hit that thing, and also not be the most oppressive thing that we've ever shipped. And so confident in that one spicy, right? Like, and so really now it's like, how many peppers spicy should the super be? But yeah, I think, so many of our shotgun and hand cannon hunters are like, another way to get across the map, right?
And
it's just gonna be zooming.
And this is cheating.
Oh.
Because we said it was a super question. Aspects too. I'm not sure if I'm.
I'll allow it.
Oh, you can't do that.
Yeah. The hunter aspect. We showed this, and it's like this cyclone in the air.
Yeah.
The 2 things that are exciting. One, it's like cool to give everyone amplified and cool to create a lightning strike below you. It's also just another jump. Like, and if you know about build crafting, you're like, is there anything that would give me another charge of this? And then suddenly you're looking at a hunter and they're like, how many jumps are they doing in a row? And I think if there's one class that wants to be degenerate with jumping around,
couldn't be hunters.
we picked the right one.
Solid call. So if you struggle with the jumping puzzles, put this aspect on and just have
That's
that
me.
extra.
Yeah. That's my clan. It's like, oh, Pika, you need that. On a different beat, the Titan one looks completely different than what we've seen. So you throw a bunch of axes, your fire team can pick them up. How long do these last? Like, this could be a problem too.
Yeah, that shit's gonna be crazy.
We've heard a really
to
loud
spawn
and
it
clear
for your
is
fire
like, hey,
team.
Titans, they have a lot of
The supers is the
roaming
only good thing
melee
I think I've
punching
seen out of this entire
which is
thing.
cool. It's the Titans.
Besides
fantasy.
Crotatine,
I
and I'm okay
roam,
with
I
that.
melee, right? Like, these are the things I was promised on the character screen. When we were putting together the video for the first time and you show a Titan cleaving with Axis, or like some Titan is watching this and they're like, Bungie never listens to me. It's another one, right? I just have an axe this time. And so I think the team did a really great job of both saying, okay, we want to make things different. Range, one-off. That's where it starts, right? Like throwing axes. And they're like, I think we can still do the fantasy on the other end, right? Like throw the things and then, pick them up and beat up things. And so like for this, right? Like we think about it, high-end PvE, just hitting a thing with the axe does a ton of damage. If you're like fighting Oryx and you're like, I'm not going to be able to go get these axes. Oryx hangs out over in space, right? You're like, still pretty good to throw an axe at Oryx and do a bunch of damage.
Okay.
The rest is sort of gravy, right? And so this is, you're thinking about something in a strike, you're like picking up the axe and going with it. Pika, we were talking about PvP with this, and so I think
kind of combo play of I picked it up, I killed 4 more people. It was crazy.
Yeah, because I think you can pick how you want to deploy a super like this. You can say, hey, everyone's playing way back. I'm just going to toss axes. They have this gravitational pull.
Yeah.
But you got
toss that on a zone.
Yeah.
People on it.
And if you get to the end, you're like, I tossed 2 of my axes, and you're like, I don't want to run for this. You can just toss the 3rd one at your feet, and then pick up the axe and be like, all right, super's still going, right? And go try to chase some people down with an axe. So I'm pretty excited to see how people make some plays with that thing.
You asked at the top what we're most excited about, and I think Joe just gave a better explanation than me as to why supers are like they're gonna be in all aspects of the game. Like that's one of the things that I'm really into with this group of supers is like you're not just gonna see them in PvE or high-end PvE. They're gonna be in PvP. And I think for all 3 classes, I think all 3 of them bring pieces to the table that will get some pretty broad play, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's it's a focused offering here, but we're doing that with intention. We're saying like, hey, we're gonna make a really sharp knife here. And how we're doing that, like it's super shaped, right? Like, so I'm pretty excited about what the team's doing.
Yeah.
I see we've really thrown our hosts here for a loop. They're shuffling their cards, they're pointing at questions. They're like, these people just talk about whatever they want to talk about.
Right. So I think we're actually going a little long.
Yeah, so we're going to skip ahead a little bit, but I want to hit this beat.
Fair.
Just talking a little too much.
I have gotten that feedback before.
So I think we're still supposed to talk about Crota, or just go to closing.
Yeah, I just want to verify that in that set that was the spiky armor that we're getting.
That was for Cosmo. Cosmo wanted to just be sure.
I just want to be sure.
That the armor for Crota.
That armor is the good one.
We saw.
And I know we're going long. You get 2 Crota things. One, you get spiky glowy armor. I think that again, the community has been very loud and clear on what Crota armor do we want? The spiky green one. 2, I think that we didn't talk about is we're using contest mode of Crota's End to do some experiments with, hey, how hard should a Raids World First be? So I bet you'll see this coming out, but we're gonna like just take them up and say, hey, it's really important for our Raid World First base to be these aspirational, feels like the Destiny Super Bowl. We know that's how it has to be in Final Shape. Well, great, because we've got our raid coming out here in 2 weeks. Let's make sure that one, like, let's start dialing the knobs and see where we need to put it.
Yeah. Amazing.
So we got some gameplay coming up. We want to get to
super
that.
hard. Oh fuck.
But yeah, we've talked about a bunch of awesome features, content coming to Destiny. Dan, what's the best way for like players, new or old, to like jump back in and start playing?
Yeah, I mean, and I'll try to be brief since we are running long. But like, this is just the same theme that we've been talking about, which is we're just trying to make the game more accessible to more players. And, you know, all of the Fireteam Power, Fireteam Finder, all that plays into that. But for new players, I think a lot of teams will want to run through Pinnacle content from other expansions, things like that. So there's a lot of ways over the next week or so where people can kind of get in on a good deal. So for example, the Witch Queen is actually going to be free for this entire weekend. I think it's the 24th
Cool,
to the 27th.
yeah, it's temporary free though.
On your platform of choice.
I love that one.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Temporary free.
In addition, even right now, Witch Queen is available on PlayStation Plus game catalog, and so you can access it that way as well. And then last but not least, someone check me on this, through I believe September 5th, we're going to be running a bunch of discounts on all of our previous expansions, anywhere from 50 to 67% off. Most notably, though, is our most recent Lightfall. Both the base and the annual pass are going to be 50% off through the 5th. I think starting right now. So all of those are really like great ways for new players to kind of get in and experience some of our more recent and high-end content.
Go get Strand.
Yeah. Go get Strand.
Go get it. That's good.
And we have a recap article that's going live soon. It's going to have all these details.
So
and
you can
dates.
fact check me.
We can fact check Dan and tell him, how he did.
Is there anything else anyone would like to add?
One last thing I wanted to mention. The Bungie Foundation has created shirts to help raise money to support the communities impacted by the wildfires in Lahaina, Hawaii. 100% of profits will go to our longtime partner, Direct Relief, who is delivering life-saving emergency medical kits and aiding in search and rescue operations. So if you like these shirts or just want to help out, you can click the link in chat. There's a QR code below, and you can purchase one. We've already sold 11,000, and we really appreciate everyone supporting this cause. Also, anyone who subscribes to our Bungie Twitch account right now, we will be donating all profits to Direct Relief from those subscriptions as well. So smash that subscribe button.
Smash it. Well, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for sharing more info on Destiny's future with us. There is a lot to look forward to. We're going to take a short break though, and then when we get back, I'll be teaming up with Taylor and Andy from Bungie
there's no way.
to play through some of the season
think
of the Witch content. So stick around.
I think I'm wrapping it up here.
Guardian.
I don't want to watch somebody go play content and I'm gonna go play later. Like, what the fuck?
And the Witch Queen holds the answers we seek.
Explosions.
If
Yeah,
we
didn't they
contend
just
with her sister,
already go?
Zivu Araf.
Alright, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here because this is a little bit just kind of put me asleep anyway. Plus I gotta get going. But maybe we'll be doing like a stream of this tonight. I'm trying to figure out some custom zombie stuff, but there's just not really anything going on. Yeah, there's just not really anything going on. Unfortunately.
You now wield hive magic and have entwined it with your light.
But alright, I'm gonna call it there.
Guardian, and open the way to our tides.
Hopefully people enjoyed, but yeah. Was a little bit let down. I'd say the supers were the best part about the whole thing, so anyway, have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.